All right, the number one business of every entrepreneur is go build a business that you love, that you actually enjoy. And that's most likely why you clicked on today's link, is because a lot of people struggle with this. You're in real estate, you're in sales, you're in whatever entrepreneurial industry you're in, and you just don't love it. You're stressed constantly, your relationships are strained, and look at the failure rate in the entrepreneurial world. As you get deeper into it, the failure rate goes higher and higher. It's the same thing in real estate. The longer you're in it, the more likely you're going to hate your job and you're going to want to back away. So the idea today is, how do we go build a business that you love? What processes, systems do you need in place? What do you need to remove so that you actually can enjoy this job? Because it's a ton of fun, but it also takes a lot of work. Now, I've worked with a ton of realtors. And last year I did over 550 free consultations just listening to realtors worldwide. And this is such a huge topic, because if you take realtor number one that's struggling and realtor number two, the successful realtor, the main reason they're closing way more deals is simply because they don't have all these holes in their business. Their processes and systems that they have in place allow for a fluid movement from generating the leads to closing business while they're having healthy, happy relationships with their spouses, kids, friends, family, and neighbors. And it really just comes down to the systems. We can break this entire process down as a realtor. You need to have an emotional regulation system so you show up to work to generate the leads. Struggling realtors aren't that consistent with that. And so they have holes. Therefore, they're not consistent at getting leads, and therefore not a lot of leads go through the funnel. They also need a system to get leads, to generate a fluid, healthy pipeline. You then need a system to qualify the leads, to set the appointments. You need a system for the listings, for the buyers, and then how to get referrals. If any of that isn't rock solid, if you couldn't hand over your business to somebody for them to invest in, if they were to come and look at your business and say, hey, I just want to pick up where you left off, and they can't because you don't have solid systems in place, then this is probably what your business looks like. One of my mentors over the last 15 plus years is Jeff Mendez, and he always has this quote that said, sophisticated systems yield sophisticated results. Lackluster systems yield lackluster results. So take a look at your business. Do you have systems in place, or do you not? Are your results lackluster? Then it comes from your systems and processes. Elon Musk also has a great quote on this, and he says the majority of entrepreneurs and businesses are mirroring complexity, and they're lying to themselves about what's going on. The most common mistake of smart entrepreneurs is to optimize a thing that should not exist. So today we're going to break down, how do we go and do this? How do we build a system or a business that has all the systems we need, all the things we need to remove, so that we can consistently have business coming in while we have a healthy relationship with those we love. We're going to talk about Dan Martell. I'm going to bring up Jeff Mendez again. We're going to talk about morning routines, nightly routines, weekly planning, what should go into your schedule, what should not go into your schedule. Because most of the time, if you look right here, the difference again between an average realtor not producing consistently, that has a ton of luck and chance, versus someone that is an automated machine. Deals are consistently coming in from guaranteed methods they have in place, processes and systems to get those deals to come in. The only difference when you look at it is simply their system is lock solid. They know that their main job every day is to prospect and go on appointments, follow up, get better, or take care of themselves. They're masters at the principle of atomic habits. They understand that they need to operate like a well-oiled machine. There's not a lot of luck and chance here. Now, if you're over here, I'll fix that today. We'll break this all down. You'll take a ton of notes. I have a lot of freemium packets that I'll give out that you need to comment down below in order to get those. But if you're overloaded, if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, you have a decreased energy, you're distracted easily, you're messing up or missing work or inconsistent all the time, constantly. You're not engaging in team chats. You have changes in moods. You're sick all the time. If that's you, you're probably this is probably you. And so let's fix that today. Let's talk about how to go from the realtor that wears all the hats to the realtor that is a CEO of their business, that runs it like a well-oiled machine, as if you were a Fortune 500 company. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so if you're brand new, excited to have you. For the past couple weeks, I've been doing a 12 video YouTube series using the whiteboard just like this and helping you build a business where you can generate $500,000 in commissions every single year by how you go and build it. There are realtors that are commenting left and right for all the free packets that I give out. This one video about a year ago got over 200 comments, and there were 219 realtors from that video and a couple others that sold 2 more homes simply from watching all the free content. So for the past 6 weeks, I've broken this down as if you're a brand new realtor, we're going to build you up to $500,000 a year. We talked about the 7 principles to follow, business planning, how to go build your plan for the year, the schedule you need, how to regulate your emotions, and then how to get unlimited leads through outbound prospecting and social media. So today we're going to jump into, now that you have all these leads coming in, what are the processes and systems you need in place to maintain those leads on a consistent basis, make sure you're okay and all your relationships are intact. If you don't know me, I used to be a religious teacher, got into door-to-door sales, then got into real estate, knew nothing about real estate, sold 75 homes my first year. Fast forward a couple years. Now I've consulted and worked with realtors all over the world, Canada and the US and other countries, helping them understand how to build a business they love and a business that scales aggressively. I've taken realtors from 0 to 57 homes their first year, realtors that were part-time, tried multiple coaching platforms, and then went full-time within 4 months, realtors that made 100K 90 days and then made it in 30, realtors that have gotten on the stage from aggressively growing their business. Some realtors literally didn't do any business at all, stagnant. And then within a couple months, they start closing a handful of real estate deals. How is that done? From what we'll talk about today. Now, if you want a free consultation, just comment free consultation down below, shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll reach out to you. It's a 15-minute free Zoom call. I'll break apart your business, give you some advice, and help you for completely free. I did over 550 of those in 2025. Also, I just started about a couple months ago a worldwide free training for 30 minutes where you can come in completely free. I'll train you just like this on different prospecting pillars, and then I'll teach you how to do it in the next 72 hours in your market. We just did this the other day, and a realtor put 2 or 3 listings on the market from a topic that we trained on just barely in this free class. There's over 115 realtors in there now. If you want to get in, just comment free worldwide training and then shoot me a DM on Instagram. All right, so let's jump into this. So the topic today is processes and systems. Now, if you go through the progress that we've talked about the last couple weeks, you've built a business plan, you're intentional, you understand how to regulate your emotions, you're consistent, you're starting to be more consistent. Then you start to generate leads, you know where to prospect, you're starting to get a full pipeline of clients. The next part right here is you need to have the processes and systems in place to make sure this oiled machine continues to produce for you. You continue to show up and your relationships get taken care of. That's where we're at right now. And the cool thing about that is, like Ormozy says right here, is if you don't have this skill set, if time blocking, scheduling, processes, repeatable systems isn't your thing, that's okay. You'll learn the skills you need today as we break this down. And remember, you have all the time in the world, like it says right here. Just don't give up. Learn these skills. Take a ton of notes. Come in with a notebook and a pen. Take quite a few notes. And then fix the things that need to be addressed in your business. Okay, so the biggest thing I want to address as we jump into this, as we start, is that most realtors are wearing all the hats. They're the transaction coordinator, the secretary, the runner. They put up the signs, they clean the houses. They're the marketing manager. They produce the content. And what happens is because they do all that, it bogs down their business. They can't scale. And so what happens is you sell 1 home 1 year, 2 homes the next year, maybe 3 that 3rd year, but there's never this explosive growth. Whereas if you shift the perspective to being a CEO of your business, because you're an independent contractor, that's essentially what you are. Once you make that shift, you now understand, oh, I need to build a business as a CEO would build their business. Okay, that makes sense. And now you can start to take off those hats, build the right systems, get the waste out of your business, and then all of a sudden, you scale aggressively. That's why a lot of the realtors that I've worked with in the past, they'll see aggressive growth right out the gate because we make the right adjustments, put the right systems and processes into their business. So why are we doing this? Why is this a topic that we're taking a YouTube video on? Well, the whole idea comes from Dan Martell and a couple others, but it comes from his book, Buy Back Your Time. So here's what he says in the book, and I put it in this packet, which if you want this, I'll mention the keyword here in a minute. But he says to excel as an entrepreneur, you pretty much always have to start with a get stuff done yourself mindset. So when you get into real estate, you pretty much have to do it all yourself. It's a grind. However, for your business to continue to grow and thrive, at some point, you have to start buying back your time. That is, you have to hire people to do the routine and repetitive stuff so you can take back the reins of your life, enjoy your work again, and reclaim the freedoms you're after. So that's essentially what you're trying to do. It's called the buyback loop. He talks about it in his book. You have to grind and build at the beginning. You then start to pay and offload tasks so that you can go back and continue to do the things that you love and you enjoy. Now, one of the things that you have to go through if you're stuck in the W-2 mindset, and this is hard to make this transition, is you have to shift the paradigm. So this is what it says in the packet that I'll mention here in a minute. You have to shift the paradigm to which you see yourself as a realtor in the real estate industry. You work for you. You are your own boss. You are running your business. So the paradigm here is that you are a CEO and need to run your real estate business like a CEO would. And then I reference the book CEO Excellence by the McKinsey Institute. They're senior partners at McKinsey and Company and break down how the best CEOs, the best companies are running everything. So go read that book and apply the principles it's being taught. You have to understand what you're worth per hour. And Dan Martell breaks that down in his book. You're going to take essentially how much money you make every year, divide that by the average 2,000 hours everybody works per year. You're going to get your dollar per hour. And then if there's a 4x return, like it says right here, then that means that task you should probably offload and pay to get rid of it. If you haven't done this before, a simple task is to do an audit for a week. Every 15 minutes, write down what you're doing and ask yourself, does this make me money? Am I happy? Does this give me energy? If it doesn't, then you need to offload that. You need to have a system in place to take that off your list so you can buy back your time and actually enjoy what you're doing. Now, a lot of the stuff that I'm mentioning, I have a free ebook for this. It's called Processes and Systems. If you want this, comment Business Systems Workbook in the YouTube video, and then I'll send this out to you. It'll break down all the different processes you need that will break down here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's go through how do we eliminate stress, luck, chance from our business and create more predictability so we can scale your real estate business. There's a fantastic TED Talk by Kelly. If you go look this up, she talks about the positive and negative effects of stress. What happens is if you don't have processes and systems in place, if your daily schedule looks like this as a realtor, then you're going to look like this. And that stress has so much strain on you as a realtor. I've seen so many real estate agents work with me or not work with me, and they don't have systems in place for their relationships with their spouse, with their kids, themselves, or how to generate consistent business. They then feel overloaded, they get stressed, and then stress spikes their cortisol, and then they panic and they're out of the industry. So what do you need to eliminate? What do you need to add? And how do we go build your business so that it looks just like this, something that you can be proud of and actually enjoy? So this is how we're going to break it down. In your daily schedule, there are 3 things that should take place every single day, every single week, as you grow your business, as you do more volume throughout the year. These are the 3 things that should take place. The first one is you need to have systems in place for the things that matter most to you. You need to learn to live a life by design. So a great book on this is The 5 Types of Wealth by Sahil Bloom. And he breaks down all the different types of wealth, not just your business, but your relationships, your mental health, your physical health, your time wealth, and then obviously your financial wealth. Those things need a system. So when you look at your schedule, daily and weekly, one of the systems you're going to put into place is taking care of you and the people that you care about. So let's go over to the schedule. What's that going to look like? Well, I'm going to take care of me. How do I do that? I'm going to have a morning routine and I'm going to have a nightly routine. I'm going to bookend my days because the middle of the day is so unstable. I want to make sure that I'm okay, that I'm not bleeding stress from one day to the next. So I'm going to have a morning routine and a nightly routine. Now, if you don't have a morning routine or know what to do when you wake up, then comment morning planning workbook. And sure enough, I have a free ebook that I can send out to you that'll break down an effective morning routine that I've implemented and other realtors that I've coached. Also, comment nightly planning workbook, and then this will give you a layout for what to do at night. But the idea here is the system you put in place, the sophisticated system is going to yield the sophisticated results I want, which means that I produce at a high level. The other day I was at Barnes & Noble and I picked up 2 books that I'm currently going through. And one was How Champions Think and The Champion's Mind. And both of them so far talk about how champions or top producers in real estate are always doing their best to maintain a peak state so they can show up for their work and the things that matter most to them. So that's a system that you have to put into place into your business to guarantee that you're consistent. Remember, if you're not consistent, then you don't show up. And if you don't show up, you don't get the leads. If you don't get the leads, you burn out, you're tired, you don't want to close them or follow up with them. So your business looks like this. So that's why that system right there is so key. That's the first one we do. The second thing that needs to happen on your schedule, the systems we need to put into place, are the people that matter most to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the system of my wife and kids and I'm going to import it into my daily and weekly schedule. So for a system would be before I start work, 45 minutes before I take my first calls, I'm with my kids. I wake them up, we have breakfast, we read the scriptures, we pray as a family, we shoot hoops in the backyard. That's a system I have in place to make sure my kids and I's relationship grows over time. I'm also at night going to always read them a story. We're going to sit down as a family, talk about the blessings we recognize that day. That is a system that I have in place. Same thing on a weekly schedule. My wife is going to have a date night every Friday night, no matter what. That's a system I can put into place to maintain our relationship. Also, to take things off my spouse's plate, I'm going to hire a maid company, and they're going to come twice a week, which we've been doing this for 3 years, and they're going to come and clean the house. So she doesn't have to spend the time doing that. She can spend more time with the kids. Do the same thing for laundry. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to take it off my spouse's plate. That's a system that I can have in place. Why? Because the 3 things, the first thing out of the 3 that go on your calendar are the things that matter most to you. Those are systems. If you don't do that as an entrepreneur, you're going to get so caught up in work. Your stress is going to be through the roof that the people that matter most to you, they're going to get neglected. And we need to avoid that. All right. The second out of the 3 things that we need to make sure go into your calendar to operate the right systems and take out things that don't need to be there is that you need to grow your business. Every day you need for 4 hours, you've got to aggressively get exposure. That's the fastest way to scale your business. If there are things that are preventing you from doing that, then you have to get them off. Every day in regards to growing your business, you need to prospect, go on appointments, follow up with your leads, get better, and obviously take care of your values. If you're not doing that, then we need to get that off your schedule. So let's take a look at this. So system number 3 is prospecting pillars. Okay, if you built your business plan, which if you haven't, I have a free ebook on this. I forgot to put the little bell right here. But comment 2026 Wealth Planning. It's a 55-page ebook that'll help you go build your business plan. But let's say I built my business plan, and these are the prospecting methods I chose. So the system I'm going to have in place is going to be over here on my weekly calendar. I'm going to go put in a system that allows me to prospect for FSBO and expireds 1 hour a day. Because I put that in there, it removes luck and chance because I know I'm going to show up for an hour on that day. I'm going to take each prospecting method and put it into my schedule. Now, if there's anything on my schedule that doesn't allow me to do that, I need to get rid of that. We need to implement the right systems, but also get rid of the trash and waste that doesn't need to be there. If you're going to go through this workbook, the processes and systems one, there's a whole section on this. Dan Heath wrote a book called Reset, how to reset if you feel like your business is stuck. And he talks about a lot of times you need to get rid of the waste first, and then we need to implement the right things. So if you go look at this, these are the things that you need to get rid of so you can prospect more. You can implement that system. You need to get rid of brokerage meetings. Stop going to learn about random things that have nothing to do with you prospecting. Get rid of them. Then stop doing fancy emails. I've got 25,000 misread emails right now. No one is going to do business with you because your email is amazing. All the email does is it keeps you top of mind. Hire that out. Get a VA, get an automated service to send out whatever email to your database. But stop spending hours on hours doing that. The third thing is stop doing hours of content. Learn to batch your content. Hire a VA to help you create that. If you want to do that, if you really love social media, go watch my previous video on content. I mapped out the entire process that allows me to post 6 to 8 times across all platforms every day. I'm getting almost 11 million views every 30 days, and the process is super simple. So go check out that video. Then get rid of the home tours. Stop going and looking at homes. You need clients to show those homes to. So stop doing that. Get that waste off your schedule. The other one is lunch appointments. So stop going on all these appointments to meet with lenders and other realtors and connect. You need business. Once you start generating a lot of business, you have the luxury to then go add that to your schedule. But until you do, you've got to get that off. Now let's go over to the other systems you need to implement. Now we've gotten rid of all the waste, the things off your schedule. You now need to hire a transaction coordinator. A transaction coordinator essentially is your secretary to your business. So if you look right here, these are all the responsibilities of a listing coordinator if you have a lot of listings, and a transaction coordinator that takes care of the buyer stuff and the listings when they go under contract. Look at all these responsibilities that a lot of realtors try to do. They're wearing all the hats, but look at all the time that takes. So if I were to hire out and pay $400 to each of these people, then think about the time that I buy back, right? I'm buying back my time so I can do the things that I love, which I love prospecting and being in front of people and closing deals. I don't love being the secretary. So I'm going to hire that out. I'm going to add that system into my business. The other thing is a runner. Add this system into your business. Why are you running around dropping off paperwork, doing errands for your business, going to Kinko's, Office Max, putting signs in the yard? If you know how much you're worth per hour, you would realize, wow, I'm not going to do a $20 task. I'm going to hire that out. So get a runner. Get a realtor that needs cash, a younger realtor, part-time moms, realtors that are a little bit older that have been in the business for a while that could take $50 here, $50 there. Have them go do that. It's not worth your time to sit in traffic, put up the sign, sit in traffic again, get distracted, run an errand, and all of a sudden you haven't grown your business. Then the last one is a showing assistant. So if you work with buyers, which I highly recommend you do because they're really easy to work with if you have a system in place, you need to have a system, a process where you have a buyer consultation, you show 3 homes, and then right there, that's where I cut it off and I hand it off to showing assistants. Realtors that I trust that literally will go open the door. The value you provide your customer is not to open doors. A trained monkey, my 5-year-old kid, could find the key and open the door and let clients in. That is not your value. Your value is to negotiate the deal so they get the home that they want. So have a system in place so your schedule isn't hours and hours where the whole day is blocked off to show homes. That's not your value as a buyer's agent. So again, get that off your calendar and then add the right system in place so you can grow your business. That's number 2. So you have your values, you have your business, and the last one is the distractions. You have to identify what distractions are creeping in to my schedule that aren't allowing me to take care of my values and grow my business. The more honest you can be with yourself here, and they might be things that you didn't even consider or recognize, the more honest you are, the more effort you put in to get it off your plate, the faster your business will scale. Or Mosey talks about how He says, my father used to tell me a focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius. So your most valuable asset isn't your time, it's your attention. A man with time and distractions will always lose to a man with a deadline and a singular focus. It's never been easier to be successful than it is today. Just always been easier to be distracted. So again, before you try to increase your willpower, like James Clear says in his book, Atomic Habits, try to decrease the friction in your environment, and that will help you more than you realize. Okay, those are the 3 things you have to create systems for. And then you have to eliminate waste so those 3 things take place. But it's your values, growing your business, and the distractions that you need to identify and eliminate. As you do this, as a realtor, as you create a repeatable business, something people would invest in, this is what your business will look like. You'll have eliminated the holes. You'll create a business that's sophisticated, that yields sophisticated results because of your systems, and then you end up building a business that you love. Now, the last thing I want to mention, if you haven't gotten this, I recently created a top real estate producer schedule that goes through how to create the time blocks, the systems, the processes. If you want this in addition to the other ebooks, make a separate comment top producer, and I'll get that out to you. Okay, well, let's wrap up. Hopefully that episode was really helpful. Hopefully you're able to create a business that you love. And as you do that, then you'll be able to focus on the next couple episodes, which we'll bring up here in the next couple weeks. Thanks a ton for watching, and we'll see you next time.